Let's go back to 1989. WWF Superstars in the arcade. This is the first ever WWF arcade game, from what I can gather anyway. And it's the prequel to the sequel, which is known as WrestleFest. Only 6 wrestlers to choose from here. I've never played this, guys. It's chose the wrestlers for me because I was taking too long. Oh my god, look! It's the little WrestleMania cart thing that the wrestlers came on or entered the ring in, I want to say WrestleMania 3. Anyway, like I say, because it took too long, I put my money in. I was just there staring at the wrestlers. And it's given me Jim Duggan, and Big Boss Man. So, first things first. I love WrestleFest. I've played loads of that. It's my favourite wrestling game of all time, actually. And we did get that in Europe, that arcade cabinet. This, however, only released in America, North America, and Japan. We never saw this over here. I actually found out that this was the prequel to the WrestleFest game a few days ago, as I'm recording this, and as I hit the microphone with my nose. Apologies, guys, if you heard a thud. What I am noticing here is how big the ring is compared to WrestleFest. There's a lot more space to work with. I think graphically, it's very good for its time. The sprites look cool as hell. But just the 6 wrestlers to choose from. With WrestleFest, I think you might get double that. I can't remember. Might be 10, actually. 10 wrestlers in WrestleFest. But anyway, you've got all the main ones here from the era. And this is cool as hell. Very similar to WrestleFest. Let's try and win a grapple. Hulk Hogan, though. He's too good. Against Jim Duggan. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hulk Hogan, get the crowd going. This is cool as hell, this. Oh, he's done his special. I think that was his special. And I'm done because I've got no energy. Right, let's get used to this. Let me choose my own wrestlers this time, game. We've been had. We demand a rematch. I like this. 1989. Okay, let's let that count down because I don't want to choose the same tag team again. Because that's what probably would happen if I continued. Okay, it's got to be Warrior, and it's got to be Honky Tonk Man, just because we haven't seen him yet. There's Andre the Giant, Ted DiBiase, and Virgil. I love the fact the wrestle carts in this. I mean, they got rid of that entrance into the ring, or that way of the wrestlers entering the ring. I think because they were so slow at coming into the event and leaving it. And wrestlers like Ultimate Warrior, as a good example, he'd run on, wouldn't he, with his music and stuff. Well, he couldn't with the wrestle cart. So they scrapped it. It was silly. Okay. Oh my god, this is hard as balls. From what I can gather, in the grapple, I mean, like all wrestling games really, in the grapple you've got options then to do moves out of the grapple, if that makes sense. I think it's very limited in what you can do in this compared to WrestleFest. We'll soon see. Come on. I'll see if I can leave the ring as well, guys. Oh, here we go. It's Warrior Special. I'm doing it already. It's a bit early in the game. I'm supposed to do a big splash then. I'm trying to work out how to run and bounce off the ropes. I have no idea how to. You only use 2 buttons in this, which surprises me. Or only 2 of the buttons do anything for me. I'm using the PS5 controller to play this. He's gone for the pin. And I wish I could see their energy levels so I know when to go for the pin. Because if I had a friend here now and they jumped in, I'd be able to see their energy levels, but I can't see the CPU. energy levels. Anyway, I'll stop going on about energy levels. I absolutely love this. Is it as good as WrestleFest? No. WrestleFest is more fleshed out. No pun intended. It was a good pun, though. There's more material there. There's more moves to do from what I can gather so far. But like I said earlier, I prefer this more spacious wrestling ring. So I had a read of the wiki earlier. Or I skimmed through it anyway. I didn't read all of it when it comes to this game. I was surprised there was an article. I'm done. Hulk Hogan pins Warrior, who has no energy.
I can't wait for the rematch.
But yeah, I skimmed through the wiki earlier. And like I said, I was surprised there was a wiki article for this. I don't know why. I just was. And it said something about the final matchup in this is 2 non-playable characters in Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant. As we could see them there, so there's no surprise. That's the end boss. You actually go to a different arena for the last fight. It's in Tokyo, whereas at the moment we're in New York, apparently. But I'm not getting anywhere here. Okay. That was nice. I've gone for cheat mode. Hogan and Warrior. I keep trying to do a run off the ropes, guys, if you see me just flapping at thin air with my fists. I'm trying different things. I'm trying double tap left, double tap right on the stick, on the D-pad. What would be the stick in the arcade. Here's some, oh, hold that thought. Here is some promotional material that accompanied the game at the time. This poster I thought was pretty cool, which I found. But I really like this. It was just the beginning of good things. I mean, WrestleFest is this, but like I say, with added stuff. Added wrestlers, moves. I'm out the ring! I've been trying to get out the ring. Okay. I don't want to get counted out. Hey, that was good. Right, come on. Now, we've got to follow that with a big splash. How'd you do it, though? And how much energy has he got? But yeah, this is super cool. When I was a kid and I was watching wrestling around this era, I don't really watch it anymore. I just kind of grew out of it. And that's no disrespect to anyone who still enjoys it as a spectacle. I get it, I do. Sometimes you get some hilarious storylines. It can be quite cool. But when I was a kid and we used to take it quite seriously, when we saw WrestleFest for the first time in the arcade, it just blew me away. And to this day, that game, I have featured it on this channel, to this day, that game is still very playable, very enjoyable, and is still one of the best wrestling games. Pure arcadey fun. And games which never released on console. There is I remember reading this earlier, but there is a WWF Superstars, same name as this game, on one of the Nintendo consoles, I think. Maybe on a PlayStation console, I don't know. But it's not related to this at all. It's made by a different developer. It's just a completely different wrestling game. You could only play this and WrestleFest on an arcade cabinet or via emulation now. No console releases, no home computer releases. Which is a shame, because when I was a kid and we played WrestleFest, that's all I could think about, man, was WrestleFest. WrestleFest in my dreams. And I always... I mean, it was delusional of me, but I was always hoping there'd be a ZX Spectrum version, etc., because I had a ZX Spectrum at the time. But we did eventually get some WWF wrestling games on the NES, etc., but they were poor. They were bad. We didn't start to get good wrestling games on the home consoles until... I was gonna say the SNES era, but I don't think so. They were poor, the WWF games on SNES, in my opinion. I would say until N64 we started getting the likes of WCW. I'm terrible at this. WCW versus Nitro, I think it was called. That is my favourite wrestling game, but on the consoles. But let me know, guys, if you could think of games way before that on console or home computers which were really good wrestling ones. I can't think of any. I remember dipping in and out of a NES wrestling game. It was terrible. I featured that on this channel on Bad Video Games. I think it's just called WWF WrestleMania. I might be wrong. I thought it was terrible. There was one on the Game Boy, wasn't there? Oh yeah, I'm really thinking about that now. The first very good game which blew my mind on consoles. It'll be WCW, I think. Be Nitro. Which also then got a sequel, WWF, which I preferred. A lot of people prefer the original. I actually preferred the sequel because you got the roster of the WWF wrestlers. But yeah, we craved good wrestling games. That's what I'm getting at when we were a kid. If my brother Matt, big shout out to Matt, is watching, do you remember we played a wrestling game over our next door neighbours when we were kids on an Atari ST that he had? And that was awful. It was definitely WWF. I think that was just called WrestleMania. They're all just called WrestleMania. This isn't. This is WWF Superstars. It is. It's good. It's a very good wrestling game. It's not up there with WrestleFest for me because it feels very limited. WrestleFest has definitely got more depth, not just in regards to its presentation, but in regards to the moves you can do and that kind of thing. There's more to it. But it's newer than this game, and Technos, or Technos, I don't know how you say it, I've always wondered. They were getting to grips with this whole wrestling lark. Hulk Hogan's face. If you didn't know, Technos, or Technos, I'm just going to call them Technos, because it sounds better. They're based in Japan, they're a Japanese developer and publisher, all in one. They needed to make us a console, wrestling game, didn't they? Not a console. Or they could have made us a console as well if they wanted to. They went bankrupt as well, guys. I was reading about them earlier, which is sad. They went bankrupt around 95, I want to say. 96 sort of time. And it was founded, Technos this was founded by 3 people who basically got up and left Data East. Very well-known name in the arcade game industry back then. They set up their own company called Technos and brought us gems like this and WrestleFest. Oh, it was terrible. I'm struggling, guys. I find this much harder than WrestleFest. I like that they do their little signature crowd pleaser things, like Hacksaw there putting his thumb up. Hogan keeps cupping his ear, doesn't he? Nice little touches. They're really using the license. They're not just slapping the WWF logo on the arcade cabinet and saying just go and play it. They've poured some love into this, haven't they? I'm trying to think of games Technos made. They made a few arcade games which weren't wrestling related, which I enjoyed. I'm gonna be racking my brains now. Can't remember. Didn't they make, because they were good with their fighters, Renegade, which then went onto the home computers to be Target Renegade. I'm sure that was a Technos gig. That is a fantastic brawler. One of the very first brawlers, actually, which spawned or influenced the likes of Final Fight and Streets of Rage that we got later on. I'm sure Technos made Renegade in the arcade. I've never played the arcade version of that. But back to this, look, Warrior's going to do his thing. I can't see their damn energy. I said I'd stop talking about it. Oh, Technos. Back to Technos. This music's reminded me of a game. I think Dave, big shout out to Dave, good friend of mine, helps with the channel. Dave and I featured a Technos game on this very channel, mate. Let me know. A console game, though, not an arcade one. Technos. It was a footy game, wasn't it? Was it Technos World Cup? Was that what it was called? On the NES. Lots of questions in this episode of Arcade Memories. I need to make more of these episodes. I love going back down memory lane, hence the name of the playlist, and going back and playing these old arcade games. It's not always easy. I'm done. It's not always easy to emulate them. Like, it took me forever finding a core which worked for this. All the other cores I was trying, it was not having it. It was just like black screen, crashing RetroArch. But I found a core. I think MAME 2010 core, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but it works. Let's go Randy Savage and Hacksaw. Let's actually try and progress to the next round, shall we, guys? Oh, I love how Macho Man comes on in his attire, his sequin cloak. He was a well-dressed man. Here's a factoid for you. Now, this is for you older viewers, unless you've got an extensive knowledge of old wrestling and stuff. Now, this is something I found out the other day, because I was listening to a Jim Cornette podcast. Big shout out to Jim Cornette. I did not realise at the time that Macho Man, his brother, in real life, was the genius. Is the genius. He was the guy, the wrestler who used to come on in robes and read poetry. Was that his name, the genius? Or was it something else? And apparently, in real life, he actually did write the poems to read. They weren't... He didn't have a ghostwriter or someone writing them for him. He was actually into poetry. And he was writing the poems to, like I say, to read out before some of the matches that he fought in. Was it the genius? Let me know, guys. But yeah, it was Macho Man's brother. Blew me away, that. I mean, if you think about it, they look very similar to each other. But with very different voices. Macho Man with his very deep voice, didn't he? Rest in peace to Macho Man. A lot of these wrestlers, unfortunately, are no longer with us. I think the genius is still alive. But Big Boss Man here passed away. Warrior passed away. I'm not sure. And Jim Duggan. Macho Man passed away, didn't he? And someone... Hulk Hogan's still with us. I'm just going through the wrestlers in this, guys. Jim Duggan actually appeared in an episode, for those of you, again, who are old, like me, in Games Master, when, I think it was around the time when SummerSlam was at Wembley, and some of the wrestlers were doing promotional stuff around the UK, and yeah, like I say, Hacksaw Jim Duggan jumped onto Games Master in his blue pants, and our Big Boss Man did pin like that, didn't he? Just with one hand. Yeah, Jim Duggan, video games. It was funny. I think it was for a WWF game, hence why he appeared. And he was carrying his two by. I can't get my words out. Let's go again there. He was carrying his 2x4 bit of wood. It was hilarious. The kids though didn't know what to think. He's gonna pin. And I think that's enough, guys. Brilliant game. I'm terrible at it. Wrestling, whatever it's called. WWF Superstars. Superstar. Brilliant. Just brilliant stuff. Look out for more content coming to the channel. I'll speak to you all soon.